Okay, on the first couple of lessons, I cheated a little bit. I just wanted you to be able to see real fast that we can make a web page real fast. But we kind of skipped some couple little things, and I'm gonna explain that. We have specifications that we have to follow. We have all these devices out now: the smartphones, the iPhones, the iPads, the Apple computer, the Apple TV. There's so many devices, and we want to make sure that we can communicate with all devices. The only way that you can communicate with all devices is to follow a certain specification, which tells you what you can do and what you can't do. And if everybody follows that specification, then we can expect HTML to work on all devices. Now, with that said, let's talk about the little things that we need. Even though we named the file with the extension .html, that's not good enough. They want now this code there, which is the less than sign, exclamation point, all uppercase, doc type, and then HTML, and then finish closing that tag. Okay, that's the first thing that we need to have. The next thing that we absolutely need to have is our HTML tag. Okay, then from that, we're really supposed to have a head tag. The head tag is where we store information that the computer needs, like the title tag, which we're going to put in here. And then we're going to say this, let's just type this and just say title. Okay, now we're going to close that tag. Remember that backslash. And so now we have a title. Remember, we had that head tag up there, so we have to close that head tag down here. And we're going to do that here. Now, after the head tag, we're supposed to have a body tag, which is where the body of the information is going to reside. Then the next thing, we got to close that body tag, right? Now that we've closed that body tag, the next thing we have to do is close the HTML tag. Now, with that said, it's a little bit difficult to kind of read this. Got a space in there by accident. So what we're going to do is we're going to do standard formatting. So we're going to go from this first tag, we're going to go into two clicks. Then, because we're wrapped in there, we're going to go 2 to get here, which is level, and then we're going to go 2 more in. And then we're going to come into this tag, and we're going to come 2 more in. And then we're going to come down here, and we're going to go the 4. So that the head tag and the head tag are all in this parallel line. Now, the head tag and the body tag can be on the same, but we're going to come in here with 2 spaces there, and then we're going to come back to the body tag at 4. Okay, now you don't have to remember these numbers. Later on, we're going to go and show you how to write our program using a special code editor, which gives us helps us indent these lines. This is all so that we can just be able to read it. This doesn't matter at all to the computer. The computer, remember, doesn't care if it has spaces. So with that said, let's save this document. Let's just change this here a little bit. We're going to go with my first page. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put a little B tag here just so we can remember these tags and how we work them. Okay, so we're going to throw a little B in here and just under my, close that tag. Okay, now what we're going to do is save as. Remember here when we're using this notepad, we got to tell it not txt but all files, and we're going to name it my underscore first underscore page dot html. So we're going to save it to the desktop, my first page HTML. When we save that, shows up on our desktop. We can double click it. Now, that title tag isn't showing up here because that title tag is meant to show up here. See, that's where the title tag goes. It's not displayed on our web page. It's displayed outside of our web page. That's why it has to go up into the head, in between that head tab. Okay, so we see that we're correct. We have the bold my, and then first page is not bold. And that's exactly what we've written out here. Now you can play with that a little bit as much as you want, because the next thing we're going to do is going to be interesting. Just to recap, this is the minimum information that you need to document, to have an HTML document. You need to have the doc type. We need to have an opening and closing HTML tag. We need a head tag. We need a title tag. And we need a body tag. And put some body in there, most likely. Okay? That's not a requirement, but this is basically the minimum amount of information that you need to have a tag that's in compliance with this specification, which is where we all go to make sure that we're staying in specs. You don't need to worry about this now because we're going to just teach you the basic elements, and you don't need to worry about these until later on when you start developing. We'll talk about this later. So let's shut that down. And I almost forgot. A lot of times this code is positioned this way with the tabs so that we can read it. Now, what we can do, we need to always think about other developers that are going to be accessing our code, and we want to make sure that it's explainable, because code can get very convoluted at times, believe me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do less than exclamation point. This is a comment, and then negative, negative, greater than sign, and I forgot. Let's talk about this again. It's less than exclamation point, negative, negative, and then whatever we have in here, then our ending of a comment is negative, negative, greater than sign. Okay? Now that won't show up in the code because we're going to show you that. Let's save that right now, and we're going to double click that page again, and you'll see the comment does not show up here. Okay? Go back to our little browser here. I just want to show you a little example. Let's do this. We're going to throw away this page when we're done. Take that and bring everything up to one line, okay? So that we're going to have everything just on one line with no spaces whatsoever. So we're going to really end up with one big long line of code here, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to save that as, and we're going to save that as my first page, and then we're just going to put a 2 next to it. Make sure that that's first page. And let's move on to the next lesson. .html. Now, once we save that page, notice that if I double click it, it's exactly the same as the other page was. So there's no difference whatsoever between this code and I now have to open up another notepad and then say open, find my document, which we need to make sure says all files, and we're looking for my first page 2. Okay, we're looking for my first page. My first page 2 is already open. So the difference between the 2 lines of code are this is 1 and this is the other, and they do exactly the same thing. The only difference is it's readable to humans to have it this way than it is this way. It's almost impossible to read, let alone a real web page. That'll be next to impossible. So what we have is this nicely readable code that helps us develop. So I wanted to show you how to put a comment tag in so you can comment your code, which you should do all the time. Employers are going to look at how you comment your code. They're going to look at what kind of comments do you make. Are our team members going to be able to read what you've built and then help you build it or continue building it, or whatever the reasons are? You've got to comment your code, and don't think that you're going to remember. No matter how much effort you put into trying to remember, a month or 2 months down the road, you come back to a little chunk of code, you're really not going to remember exactly what you did. So always comment your code. Now to the next lesson.